the right, from the moment that Kirk was shot, attributed this to Democrats and the left. And certainly there has been nothing from Republican officials and the leadership of, in fact, the investigation even, that has done anything except for pour fuel on this fire, while at the same time saying we've got to stop this violence that's going on in the country. Here is Donald Trump on Fox and Friends this morning. And let's just start with clip number one. Remember, Trump has obviously been horribly distraught at the killing of Charlie Kirk, and he is also very explicitly attempting to use this as a way of both polarizing the country and trying to consolidate his power. This is an hour-long interview, and we'll go through some of the clips as the show progresses. But he's clearly using this moment to try and extend his authority. At one point in the interview, we'll play this. He says that he can change the mayor of D.C. if he wants. But listen to this clip about where Ainsley Earhart asks him about radicals on the left and radicals on the right.
Radicals on the left, people are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble.
I'm sorry. Can we just pause it for 1 sec? Because, yeah, some people, be specific, because when there was an assassination of a Minnesota lawmaker just a few months ago, there was actually a United States senator from the state where this shooting happened, Mike Lee, who was making jokes about it. I have not seen one elected Democrat, one, making a joke like that.
I mean, was he making jokes or was he just lying about who was responsible? He was spreading conspiracy theories that Tim Walz was responsible.
Yeah.
Paid for it. Their profession for him and other people. Street, and we're going to look into that.
What do we do about our country with that? Because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Although they want men and women sports, they want transgender for everyone, they want open borders. The worst thing that happened to this country, because I've already solved inflation, costs are down. Look at energy costs. You're going to have $2 gasoline.
Oh my God! Before he continues on with this rant about how the radical leftists are criminals, and the radical right just wants the laws not to be broken, like on January 6th, I guess. New inflation data, groceries are higher than they've been since 2022. But just continue.
Gas, groceries, hotel rooms, airfare. I headlined this yesterday. Consumer prices increased 2.9% in August from a year earlier, and it's the highest increase since the start of the year in January.
I've solved just about every problem. The worst thing that happened to our country is when we let 25 million people in, many of which, and I say 80%, should not be in our country. They emptied their prisons into our country. They emptied their mental institutions, insane asylums. You don't know what that is. That's seriously, you know what that is? A mental institution on steroids, okay? They emptied out insane asylums, crazy people, into our country by the millions. And it's the hardest thing. We have a border now that's totally secure. Nobody came in. Think of that. They actually had asked nobody. We used to have millions of people come in. Nobody came in. And we back up the border with the military. We've done a great job. But the worst thing that happened to our country is to allow millions of people in from jails, mental institutions.
Okay. So he's But understand, when he talks about this immigration stuff, this is all a predicate for sending in federal troops into cities, to having ICE, and justifying the federal police force that's sort of like extrajudicial in many respects. And it's going to be the biggest police force in the country and larger than many other militaries. So he's tying in this notion of, I mean, and I don't know how much he maps this out, but at least in his mind, when he talks about radical right, then pivots to radical left, don't want law and order, he immediately starts using immigrants as the predicate for these radical rightists to bring in law and order against the leftists.
Does he think asylum seekers are
No one's corrected him.
insane asylums?
No one has corrected him.
Does he not what?
We talked about this in the election. He's been saying this asylum thing because he's confusing political asylum with insane asylums.
But I want to,
Yeah,
keep going on this note, because understand, this is what he's doing. He is trying to use this, and he also, with the added benefit of people stop talking about Epstein for a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
But he is trying to use this because this is a big opportunity for him. In his mind, I don't know if he knows of the Reichstag fire or not, but
Stephen Miller does.
He had a copy of Hitler's speeches on his bedside table per one of his ex-wives.
I just like his stylings.
That's to impress girls.
Yes.
You want to keep going with this answer?
But here he is. This is number 4, where he is extending this. They had a conversation later in the program about his endorsement of Andrew Cuomo. But listen to how he characterizes what an election in New York City that elects Zoran Mamdani is.
Let me just say, our country is doing great. A year ago, we had a dead country. It was a dead, embarrassing country. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Mr. President, see these buildings?
Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. They all just sort of look at him when he says the hottest country in the world. Nobody knows how to. Yes, when India and China and Russia get together to forge their new alliances against us, they're talking about us. That's the important thing.
Hot
you want
as
them
in
talking to you.
radioactive, hot as in radioactive, hot as in one of those enigmas that never age.
We're in the world.
Mr. President, see these buildings? A lot of them in New York City you built.
I do.
That's called capitalism, not socialism. We have Mamdani, who is ahead of...
Pause it for a second. Now, people don't know this, but in countries that are partially socialist, even fully socialist, there are no buildings. People.
Yeah, like China has a tough time building buildings.
Yes, if you look at they have no buildings. It's all tents.
Also, the way she's talking to him like she's his granddaughter. Mr. President, look over here. Look at this photo of your grandkids. Look over there in the back. I mean, he needs this visual aid for him to look at capitalism.
Trump used illegal undocumented labor to build Trump Tower. He didn't build it himself. He wasn't out there with the hard.
Capitalism. Good.
polls here. What's your reaction? Not socialism. We have Mamdani, who is ahead in the polls here. What's your reaction?
It's amazing.
It's up by 20.
I call him my little communist. He's my little communist mayor. But, you know, he has to come to Washington for money, a lot of money. And it's amazing. I was so surprised by this. Even the other two candidates, I mean, you know, you look at the candidates. Now, maybe one-on-one somebody could beat him, and I'm not looking at the polls too carefully, but it would look like he's going to win. That's a lie. And that's a rebellion. It's also a rebellion against bad candidates, okay? It's a rebellion. They're tired of it. You know, they're seeing things happening. We have taxes being put on us in New York by Democrats that is so bad that even the Democrats are revolting. It's not possible for a Democrat to lose. I did, in the
Okay,
presidential election.
I mean, aside from the fact that what he's saying is completely incomprehensible, the Democrat is going to win ostensibly in this election, and he's saying it's a rebellion, and the candidate that he is talking about wants to raise taxes and has been rather public about that. So I don't know what else to say, but that. To call it a rebellion, and then he realizes, like, wait a second, an election's not a rebellion. It's a rebellion against Democrats. And that's why Curtis Sliwa is not going to win.
And it's a rebellion against bad candidates, one of whom I'm endorsing against Zoran Mamdani and Chris Cuomo, or Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, and they were not able to actually strong arm Eric Adams out of the ballot. Like, the ballots are locked in at this point. They were trying to get him to drop out to coalesce behind Cuomo. And I wonder what that, like, it's interesting that they weren't able to get him to do that. I mean, they were able to get him to try to, like, use his pending prosecution to agree to their immigration crackdown. Is that a harbinger of things to come, of their power waning? I don't know.
Well, I think what happened with Adams, too, on some level, is that the leak that they were having this conversation, there are people who have large investments in Saudi Arabia, and Eric Adams is on team Eric Adams. And I have a feeling that there were other people in the sort of orbit of Trump who said, no, we're not going to send Eric Adams to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
That is not happening.
That's a job for, like, your son, Eric Trump, who's mining all that crypto there so we can make some more money, buddy.
And I suspect that Eric Adams also, he's like, well, if I'm not getting Saudi Arabia, like, I want something very cush, because he's used to getting paid for stuff just even from being a borough president in Brooklyn. So, but this is, understand how they're using this. Now, again, it remains to be seen what the politics of this guy, Tyler Robinson, is. If you look at just the broad context, it does not look like a guy who's coming from an Antifa background. Mm-hmm. But one never knows, and we need to hear. But certainly, some of this, like, we have been saying from the beginning that the Groypers really don't like Charlie Rose and Charlie Kirk.
Not a big fan of Rose.
Also, not a fan of Charlie Rose, but Charlie Kirk. And should also say, we don't hear much of them anymore. The Boogaloo Boys, they had an ideology that was very much about creating a civil war or civil unrest. And if you think about what the implications of this are, the Charlie Kirk being killed, from the perspective of leftists, from the perspective of center lefts, it's also quite possible there's just no coherent ideological or political motive behind this, and someone just wanted to be famous.
Right.
But to the extent that there is any agenda being fulfilled by this, it is not one that benefits leftists. Now, I will say that, like, I've always had a policy of when public people die, judging them based on what they have added to public life. So when, folks like Antonin Scalia passed away, this was very beneficial to society, in my estimation. Now, he may be a good dad, he may be a good brother or husband or whatever, but I don't know Antonin Scalia that way. I only know the existence of this guy because of things like getting rid of the Voting Rights Act or a whole host of other horrible rulings. And I felt the same way about folks like Breitbart or Kissinger or whomever it is. And I would feel the same way if there were people who die who, they were helpful to society, but maybe they weren't particularly, a good dad or a good brother or a good, son or whatever. But I found this piece of writing, which I think sums up what I've been saying in the past many times. I don't agree with this person on a lot of things, but when someone dies who is a public figure by virtue of their political acts, like Ronald Reagan, discussions of them upon death will inherently be politicized. How they are remembered is not strictly a matter of the sensitivity of their loved ones, but has substantial impact on the culture which discusses their lives. To allow significant political figures to be heralded with purely one-sided requiems, enforced by misguided, even if well-intentioned notions of private etiquette that bar discussion of their bad acts, is not a matter of politeness. It's deceitful and propagandistic. Glenn Greenwald wrote that some time back. And I think that's accurate. Like, I don't believe that anybody should be shot, killed. I don't think they'd be shot and injured. It's like, those kids who got shot in Colorado on the same day by a white supremacist. But that doesn't mean that you have to pay tribute to the person and whitewash their entire contribution to society.
Like Ezra Klein did in the New York Times.
Like Ezra Klein or whomever.
I mean, and I do think there's something different than, it's a different conversation too when it's a political assassination like this versus like celebrating the death of Scalia from natural causes or something like
100%,
that.
because look, yeah,
because of what this means about our culture, our society, the precedent it sets, and regardless of all of our, major disagreements with Charlie Kirk, political assassinations and targetings like this are a very, very scary thing. And the fact that we're in this place as a society, we obviously condemn it in the most vociferous terms. So it's
two things can be true.
Exactly.
Two things can be true. That if there is less rhetoric saying that planes that have been misbuilt are falling out of the sky because pilots are black, if there's less rhetoric about saying that slavery was beneficial to black people, if there's less rhetoric saying that people have to die, it's just the price, people getting shot, kids getting shot at schools is the price of having a Second Amendment. I could go on and on.
Black women don't have processing power.
Black women don't have processing power.
Palestine doesn't exist.
Palestine doesn't exist. I mean, I could go on and on. We have probably videos on many of this stuff.
Shouldn't have done the Civil Rights Act.
It shouldn't have done the Civil Rights Act. We're going to make professor watch lists and put professors on watch lists.
Says the free speech guy.
The absence of all that is a positive, but it also has to be offset by the absolute negative of people being shot with guns or, killed by any other method. And so
based on political speech, right? And
based on anything. I mean,
yeah.
Short of like immediate self-defense measures, I don't believe anybody should ever be shot with a gun. And, or, killed by any other mean for that matter. And so one can denounce the act.
Don't forget when he said someone should bail out the guy who beat Pelosi's husband with a hammer.
Yes. I mean, and this is a guy who also said, you shouldn't express empathy. It doesn't exist or whatever it was.
It's a new age concept.
Regardless, one should never celebrate this type of violent act. But that doesn't mean that you should celebrate the victim of it, because now I understand why people who have a problem with, have questions as to whether black people can be competent, or whether, Jews, as he said, not all Jews, but many Jews are conspiring to, support these causes.
Anti-white racism.
I can understand why those people would see this guy as some type of martyr because that's their right-wing, authoritarian, revanchist perspective. And so, of course, they have their heroes. Stephen Miller is one of their heroes. But I don't understand why anybody gives Charlie Kirk outside, anybody who doesn't subscribe to that vision of how society should be would give Charlie Kirk any credit. I mean, was he talented as a broadcaster? Or yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of very talented communicators in the world who you wouldn't want, to be in your society. So it's just sort of bizarre to me to watch what's going on in that respect.
Well, I think the people that are most engaging in it in our media are, it's not shocking to me that they're rich white men, because kind of once you get to that level of wealth and elitism, partisan differences are a little bit less important, and people begin to just identify with a guy like Charlie Kirk, and Ezra Klein probably has a little bit more, and others who are engaging in this. Like even
calling for people to be deported over political disagreements. He's a nasty guy.
Even Joan Walsh, who is somebody who we'd had disagreements about in the past, about Hillary Clinton's campaign, had a pretty scathing kind of remark about what Klein had to say in the Times in the Nation this morning. And I agree with it completely. Like yesterday, I made a great effort to condemn the violence in the greatest possible terms, in terms of the attack on someone's political speech. It's completely indefensible. But you can do that without just doing revisionist history about what Kirk provided to society.
And, the stuff about supposedly he was taken out by Israel or stuff like this, I'm sorry. We'll
get into that, yeah.
Absurd. We can talk about that later, but that's absurd. To the extent that, Charlie Kirk was responding to mounting criticism of Israel in this country, you have to understand that Charlie Kirk was a politician. And his ideological stuff has moved significantly to the right over the course of the past 10 years.
Even on MLK, he used to be more pro-MLK, and now is anti-MLK because of Fuentes.
I'm telling you, when I debated that guy in 2017 or 2018, he was significantly more libertarian than he was when he died. And part of that was because he was being challenged over the course of that period of time. I mean, this is a guy whose most recent comment on gay people was that God's perfect law says they should be stoned. I don't know if he subscribed to God's perfect law or not, but he's out there saying that publicly. I am quite sure that there is video out there of the Groypers coming in and at a TPUSA conference and criticizing him for sitting on stage with a gay guy. And so his politics, changed because his base changed. All right, we got to do this ad. We went a little longer than I had anticipated that. We got more of this Trump stuff. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.